disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.
Welcome once again to another episode of Flixx, Kicks, and Flix, the podcast about martial arts, movies, and life. I am one of your hosts, Eugene Plowden. With me, as always, my podcast partner, Mike Gibbs. What's up, Mike?
I told you to call me by my new given name.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. If this is your first time with us, I want you to know we're members of the Martial Arts Internet Network. On Tuesdays, you got CTE, Chris, Carlos, and Travis Experience. I need to change this. Wednesdays is us, Flixx, Kicks, and Flix with Gene and Mike. And Thursdays, you can get the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. For more information, you can check us out on all of our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Mike, it's showtime.
Showtime. What's going on, Gene?
Oh, man, same old, same old. What's going on with you?
Oh, man, I just was out practicing with one of my little race cars, and I broke it, man. So I'm upset right now.
How many cars do you have?
6.
Okay. All right.
But there's different classes, so
okay.
You race.
So I saw your picture over the weekend. so you won a competition?
A payday. Me and my team, we cleaned up. So it was cool.
So y'all even got teams. That's crazy, man. It's crazy how there are things that exist in the world now that other people have no idea exist. Like a whole nother community. Like I never knew that there was a race car community out there.
Oh yeah, and then there's so many different like types. So there's like dirt racing, carpet racing, drag racing, like we do. There's aircraft racing, drone racing. The whole RC community. There's a bunch of different types of racing. It's cool, man. It's almost like karate, man. And you meet so many different types of people from different walks of life. Like we've said before. In what world would we be friends? Or how would we have met?
Yeah, we would have.
I'm not into music. I'm not that big into comics or any of your other hobbies, nor are you in mine. So our paths probably would have never crossed. It's cool. There's some good people. Some people I've known for like 25, 30 years racing RC cars and stuff like that, just like karate. But I love karate more, though. Let
me ask you this. Is the Grand Championship money more than the karate tournament's Grand Championship money? Oh, my God.
This
That's some bullshit. Bullshit.
There was a race in Livonia about a month ago, and the top prize was like $2,000. Yeah, and then like this weekend, we entered 3 cars, just me myself, and it was like $30. And amongst our squad, I think we won everything. It was like $400 and some odd.
Wow.
And that's more than like a local. They give like $100, $200. And it was a local event. But there's a race they just had out in Vegas was like $5,000. And they pay all the way through like 8th place.
So let me ask you this. So these race car tournaments, are there sponsors?
There are some people that are sponsored by like the.
No, I mean the event. The event is the event sponsor.
Oh, not in the way in a sense like we would think for martial arts events. More like places sponsor like the raffle or giveaways and things like that. There are some bigger events where like the car parts of the RC cars, if you will, those companies like sponsor events. So like in Michigan, out in Macomb, there was a dirt race 2 weeks ago that was sponsored by a company called Proline, which makes not all, but they're one of the bigger companies for the rubber RC car tires. So they sponsored an event in Michigan. Yeah, man, it's sad that our sport has not even. I mean, honestly, it's sad. If you look back, like when your uncle and those guys were competing, and the money they were getting compared to like today. I mean, we're a broken record with this, but I think. I mean, you guys get mad at me, but I think sport karate's dead.
I honestly think that it might actually be a little less if you think about it, because weren't they getting like $1,000 winning those grand champions back then? So $1,000 in the '80s is not the same as $1,000 now. No, it's not. So actually, people should be getting the grand championship money now should be over $1,000.
Without a doubt.
Consistently, not just one or two tournaments here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean consistently. And that's why I was asking you about the sponsorship, because how could somebody afford to give away that much money without having a sponsorship? What they get in return?
So here's the thing: they don't take. So, see, I'm charging my battery right now. You hear it?
Yeah, I hear it.
Yeah. It's like all computerized. Everything's computerized. What you do, but they don't take as much of the entry fee. So, like I said, it was like $25 or $30. It was $10 a car. And I think they only take like $1 or $2 off all the entries, and then they give the rest back.
Okay.
So I mean, they're making little amounts. It's usually like hobby shops that sponsor it or clubs and things like that. So there's not a big overhead, right? So to say. So that's one advantage because you're outdoors, right? Now, as you go into there's a place down by Cincinnati, Ohio that has an indoor track. I'm going to check it out. Maybe. I don't know how I feel about running a $1,000 car into a net. But I'm sure because they have an overhead and bills and things like that, electricity, heat, rent, I'm sure their payback's not as good depending on the numbers, but it's usually number based. So if you have X amount of racers or cars entered, the payout is X, Y, and Z. So there's a crew of us that go, and we know what we're going to make if it's just our crew.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to dominate and do what we do. But
okay, so how is it referee or judge? Is it strictly just whoever goes from point A to point B the fastest?
It's just like a real drag race. There's a timing system and things like that with a tree and the timing system. One group in Michigan has a very, very, very nice timing system. The other group, they still use video cameras at the starting line and at the finish line. But like I said, there's practically no overhead at all, so that's why they can give such a good return on investment. I've made more in the past 2 months doing this probably than I did, even sharing grand championships or winning any type of grand championships.
Ever?
But I didn't compete a lot out of the state of Michigan, really. And then when I went to nationals and things like that, I was lazy, wasn't training right, and I got beat. So,
Okay. Man, that's something. That's crazy.
Yeah, it reflects on our sport.
Yeah.
And I think what Jesse's doing is great. I think that's going to evaluate or take it to another level with sparring and things like that. But I think tournaments are going to be dead. I've told you this numerous times.
Yeah.
And it's upsetting. I don't like to say that, and I hope I'm wrong. But I think besides Jesse and what Jesse is doing, done.
Well, I mean, I think people are going to try to continue it, but I mean, in a post-COVID world, 2021 and 22, it is. I'm not sure how eager people are going to be to. I mean, I know some people are going to be eager to run back out and act like everything is all right, but I don't know, man. Like, yeah, it's a sad situation unless people start deciding their tournaments are going to be set matches. But
and then the forums, I feel bad for the cotton people, the cotton weapons people.
You know what, man? I don't feel sorry for them, because honestly, I think that's the one part of sport karate that could survive is the forums. Imagine if you decide, okay, well, we're going to do a lot more. We're going to start focusing more on virtual forums, and say people can start being creative with their forums. So imagine if somebody is doing a forum somehow and in front of a green screen, and now they look like they're actually fighting someone. That could be sweet if it's done the correct way, or with weapons. I think that I mean, if you're creative, you can come up with some creative ways to do forms, and I think that that'll actually be pretty sweet. Better than sitting in a gym or at a hotel ballroom watching forms. If people are able to be creative, or if there's someone like Jesse or someone that wants to have a virtual I don't want to say tournament, but a virtual competition, and allow the forums people to be creative as they want to be.
Right.
It could be sweet with some backgrounds and some sweet music. It'll be sweet. It could be sweet.
It could. I mean, something like I feel like something like that. What you're describing has to happen. To happen, or the numbers just even since you and I have been doing it in the late '80s. In tournaments and things, you can just see the numbers go down.
Oh yeah,
even locally.
It used to be a lot of kids in our division when we were coming up around here. Like it was, we could easily have 5 or 6 fights at a tournament.
I remember the first time I ever competed as an adult black belt was at your uncle's tournament, and I remember and obviously he always brought in the great group of fighters from the Midwest and afar and things like that. But aside from sparring, I did black belt kata that day. And there was 23 people in my division at your uncle's tournament back in like 91, I think. So
I can believe that.
I mean, there was in black belt.
Yeah, so I can believe that.
It was huge. And, that was known as like a fighting tournament back then. So I remember going to Michigan State one time, and I'll try to find it and show you. But doing just that local event, there was black belt competitors spread across the whole floor, the entire basketball court. So there had to be like 45, 52 people. And it was like my second or third tournament ever competing in black belt kata. And my father was up in they had like a press thing, and he snuck up there with his video camera, and he had actually taken a picture of it. And I have it somewhere, but it's almost the whole length, and we're bowing in the whole length of a basketball court. And I'm like, man.
Yeah,
it's dead. It's dead.
Yeah, I remember when Trav used to compete in the mini PB division. That's what it was called back then. And those divisions used to be packed with kids. Goodness gracious. Yeah, I remember that. All right, man. So we are on to Cobra Kai. We're going to wrap it up today, man. You ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right, Cobra Kai, episode number 9, season 1. This is my favorite episode of the whole series.
Really?
This episode, and also the episode, actually episode 9 in the second season. Both of these are my favorite ones.
Because it's the prelude.
Not just that. It's just I like seeing the dynamic between Johnny and Daniel. Because at first they're really, reluctant to do something together in both episodes, and then they're kind of forced to do stuff together, and they learn a little bit about each other. And it's actually kind of funny. The name of this episode is Different but Same. So they're seeing their differences, but they are still kind of the same individual. So
right.
We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. So. Episode 9 starts off with Robbie. He's at a skate park, and he's riding his skateboard up and down, and he's trying to do handstands. And he eventually gets it, and he's standing on one hand. Well, he has one hand down, both of his feet up in the air, and he has one arm extended out. So
the move.
Yeah, so he's actually kind of trying to do the move that he saw Daniel doing in the woods, and that we covered last week. And he's actually better because he gets it, he tries it a couple times. Daniel had said that he had been trying for years, and that was the closest that he had ever gotten. And now Robbie did it, he tried 4 or 5 times and then had it. So he's a little bit more of a natural athlete than Daniel is. I was gonna say martial artist, but I don't think Daniel's that much of a martial artist to me, in my opinion. So then we get into the episode, and we see Daniel getting up in the morning. He's fixing his breakfast. He's getting his coffee together, and it's a Saturday. It looks like he's gonna head out to the dealership for work, and he gets ready to take a sip of his coffee, and he sees Johnny in his backyard. And Johnny was there to fight, because
that's a little creepy, man.
It was, like I could understand both people. Yes, it was creepy, but you got to think, man. They just burnt out. They just burnt his car.
But stop, though. He jumped on the motorcycle in episode 8, right, and rode off.
Yeah. Okay, I
know.
So,
hold on. Where did he go? Because it's dark time, and he shows up at LaRusso's in the morning. Like, there's some time missing, Johnny.
Well, I think that what Johnny basically probably did is looked in everybody's house or backyard, and until he found him. He had to have. Creepy, I mean, yeah, it is, but he was pissed. I mean, there's no other way that he could explain it. It's not like Louis gave him the address to Daniel's house. He just kind of told him where he was, where he lived, and he jumped on and took off. And like you said, it was nighttime. I was thinking in my head, maybe the first time I saw it, maybe he left, couldn't find it, and came back to make sure that the apartment building didn't get burnt down, the whole thing. Make sure that his car was all right. Maybe he had to talk to the police. I don't know. Or he could have just searched every house until he found Daniel LaRusso. But then again, if he knows the area and knowing how Daniel is, maybe he stopped and asked somebody, like, hey, do you know where Daniel LaRusso lived? And someone told him.
He might have got lit. It takes some courage to go to somebody's house like that.
Oh yeah. But like Daniel was pissed when he came outside and saw him out there, and I don't blame him. I would have been pissed too. But Daniel didn't know why he was there, and he even said, "Are you crazy? Like coming to my house?" And then Johnny told Daniel what Louis had said. That Louis had told him that this was from you. They burnt my car up. They blew my car up. And, now pretty much we about to fight. As they're talking, Anthony comes out and he looks excited. For the first time in the series, he seems excited that he's about to see his dad fight. And then Johnny and Daniel, they eventually get into fighting stance and they're really about to go at it. And then Amanda comes out and she tries to de-escalate the situation. What do you think so far, Mike?
Like I said, man, Johnny's nuts. I think Johnny was on the banger. The one thing about Anthony, though, was Anthony wanting to see his dad get his ass whooped, maybe? Because it seems like he don't like Daniel.
Yeah, but I think he said kick his ass, Dad. So I think he thought that his dad would have beat up Johnny, but
Johnny giving that work.
Yeah, I don't think that would happen. I mean, especially because now you got to think. If they had came, what do you think? If they had came to blows, do you think Daniel would have been able to defend himself against Johnny?
No, he's a gold belt.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think so either. Because at this point in time, Daniel has not really. He's just now getting back into training, so he's only a few weeks into his training. So he had to have been rusty. We know how it is like when you get back into training after having taken off some time. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be really, really rusty. So Johnny probably would have beat the shit out of him. My opinion. And Johnny was going to be fighting with anger. And honestly, I mean, in the second Karate Kid movie, at the end of the movie, we see Daniel defend himself in a street fight type of situation. In every other situation, from the Karate Kid 1 through the Karate Kid 3, and any type of real life situation, Daniel's getting his ass beat. He can't defend himself against anybody. And in the third movie, he really got beat up. He got beat up at the tournament. Mike Barnes could have, blew him out and got 3 points and took the title and left, but they wanted to punish him. Daniel, he's not really a tough guy when it comes to street fight. Daniel's having nightmares about Mike Barnes, man. So now the next scene we see Miguel, him and Dimitri looks like they're taking the PSATs. They're getting ready to take the main one. So Dimitri is kind of stressing out about it. Miguel is kind of distracted. He's worried about his relationship with Samantha. He knows that I saw you look like that. He feels that Daniel is not going to like him because he is a member of Cobra Kai, and he thinks that's going to affect his relationship. Why did you roll your eyes?
Because he's worrying about Samantha, man. Don't chase, replace.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, man, he didn't. Johnny's trying to teach him about life, man.
Yeah.
Not listening.
Yeah. So, and then Dimitri came up with, I don't even want to say. Like,
I hate Dimitri.
His plan. Yeah, man. Yeah. He had a plan, and he had a whole long plan what he wanted to do. He was worried about doing well. He had to do well because he needed to get into a good college.
Dimitri's your boy, man.
Yeah, no. I don't have anything to do with that guy. And then Samantha, she's waiting outside of the classroom for Miguel. So he comes out, he speaks to her, and he is trying to get her to invite him to her house so he can meet her family. But she kind of deflects and does not want to do that. And, she wants to meet up and, go play putt-putt or something like that. And he declines. He doesn't want to do that. He just tells her that he has to go train.
Have you ever had that?
What's that?
Like dating a girl, like, we talked about my situation. Have you ever had that? Are you dating a girl and sure parents aren't too keen on Eugene Plowden?
No, all the mamas love me.
You are probably one of the nicest Plowdens, though.
I've never had a situation like that. I've only dated one girl that actually had a father there, but I've never had to meet any dads or anything like that. Now, Crystal, now she, I never got a chance to meet her biological father, but I did meet her stepfather, and he's cool. And then of course my son's mother, I know her stepdad, and I did meet her father before he passed.
Did you?
Twice. I think I met him twice. Yeah, but other than that, no, man, I've never had a situation where the parent that's nothing that I don't even think I would even deal with. I'm like, all right, I can't deal with this.
It's not
no, it's not, because you can foresee problems in the future, So
only my dumb 8x10 messed with it.
Who
only my dumb 8x10 messed with it.
So then, man. It's all right, man. We all go through certain things,
Mm-hmm.
So now Samantha has an idea. She asked Miguel that there's a lot of other dojos in the valley. Maybe you can think about training somewhere else. That was disrespectful to say something like that. And of course, Miguel tells her no. I can never do nothing like that to Johnny. And eventually, he tells her that, he'll just talk to her later, and he kind of walks off. Now she can sense there's something bothering him and there's something wrong. Mm-hmm. So now she kind of thinks that, okay, he knows that I'm scared to take him home to meet the family, So she should have just went ahead and nipped that in the bud right then and there. If she felt that way. As he walked away, she should have followed him, walked outside. They could have talked. But we got to think, too, these are kids also.
But here's my thing. I think her knowing, like, how Daniel came up, I think she should have known Daniel would be cool with him.
I don't think Daniel would have been cool with him at all. Unless.
I think so?
No, I think as soon as Daniel found out, because he's very judgmental, as soon as he found out that Miguel was part of Cobra Kai, then he even said in the next at the beginning of season 1, Daniel calls Miguel. I'm just going to go ahead and just jump right into this part.
Yeah.
But in the beginning of season 2, episode 1, Daniel calls Miguel Cobra Kai's top bully. At no point in time in this is Miguel the bully, but because Daniel looks at Cobra Kai as a bully, location. And because Miguel won, even though, we're going to get into that later, how he won, he looks at him as a bully. So I don't think he would have liked him now.
But I think he would have saw if she would have went home. So she would have used the mama. If she would have used the mom to her advantage,
yeah.
And I think Daniel would have sat down and talked to him. Now I think Daniel would have tried to convince him to join Miyagi-Do, but I think Daniel would have saw a lot of Miguel, in himself and Miguel is what I'm saying.
Exactly, But what basically Daniel would have needed is someone to sit down with him and tell him what happened to Miguel and what led him to Cobra Kai.
Right.
And basically showing how he has developed confidence over the last few months,
Right.
So back to the next scene. So we get back to the LaRusso's house, and Johnny is sitting there at the table with Amanda and Daniel, and they're just kind of looking at each other. And Johnny has a plate. He's having breakfast with them, but he's a little upset. Daniel doesn't want him in the house. He wants him to go. But Johnny doesn't want to go anywhere until he gets reimbursed for his car. And, they're bickering back and forth about who did what. Daniel even says, you spray painted a dick on my face. Johnny said that, you tried to get me banned from the All Valley. Now Amanda, she steps in. She's the peacemaker. And she tells Daniel, we have a car lot, just give him something from the from the trading lot. You heard what Louis did. She's sensible. She's smart.
She's sensible, but I'm a little disappointed in her.
Why is that?
I feel she should have been in Daniel's ass a little bit more.
Why? Why was she didn't know that Louis was? I mean, Daniel didn't know Louis was going to do that. I can't believe I'm actually standing up for Daniel.
Me either. Let's just move on.
So even Anthony had to come in and get a little comment. He comes in, he looks at Johnny while he's eating, and Johnny asks for some ketchup, and he tells him to get it himself. I mean, who says that to an adult?
No, I'd be his ass.
So now, next scene, it looks like the Cobra Kai team, they're at the park, and Miguel is sulking, and Aisha's next to him, and she's on her phone, and Dimitri's there, and also Hawk, he's there, and Hawk is actually looks like he's sparring with Bert, the little guy. Mm-hmm. He's there with them. Now, this part is going to be very interesting because Aisha always finds out things, and she always brings it back to the rest of the fellas, and then they react. We see that a lot in season 2 also. So Aisha's on her phone, and she sees that Yasmin is having a party, and she tells them about it. So, they want to invade the space at the cave. I think that's what it was called. Was it the cave? What it was
called? I don't know. It looked like that same beach where Daniel met Ellie.
It did look like that. Yeah, it did. It did. Yeah. So now, also Dimitri is kind of disrespecting Hawk, because he keeps calling him Eli, and he tells him it's Hawk. And he doesn't. I don't know. I guess that could be kind of weird. Just like you, man. You came on here tonight and I'm Vin now. Call me Vin Gibbs. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm not saying that
because that's who would have played me in my movie, man.
Okay, man. I'm okay. I'm gonna leave you alone about that. If you think Vin Diesel is gonna play you, okay, I got you.
You don't think so?
I mean, I'm quite sure that he'll do anything for the right amount of money.
But I think it's fitting.
So they decided they want to go, and they're going to get the space at the caves or whatever that place was called. They're going to go. They're going to beat them there. And they're going to throw a Cobra Kai party there. Get there before Yasmin and her group, because they were trying to make it exclusive to just their friends who can come to the party. And of course, Yasmin doesn't like Aisha at all, or a lot of the people that's the members of Cobra Kai, because she doesn't feel that they're cool enough to be with them.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. At any time watching and I keep getting us distracted, Dave, but
that's all right.
At any time, did you want Miguel and Aisha to hook up?
No, I never even that never ever crossed my mind.
I was like, man, he needs to just hook up with her because she's loyal.
She is loyal, but I just can't see that happening. Now, maybe if no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that at all. I'm not gonna say that at all. I was gonna say maybe if he never met Samantha, maybe that would have happened. But I don't know, man. I don't think he looks at her like that, you know.
Because she's big.
Okay, so we're gonna move on. You got anything else you want to say, man?
Nope. We just move on, I guess.
All right. So we're at the car lot, and Johnny is looking for a car, and him and Daniel are walking the lot, and Daniel is he's picking out cars for him that obviously did not look like something that Johnny would drive. He eventually finds a Challenger, a Dodge Challenger that he liked. That was pretty sweet. I like that car. Yeah, he did. It was a 2009.
Wait, did they say that, or did you pick that up?
No, they said that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's also in my notes.
I was thinking I didn't pick that up.
You know what killed me about this is Johnny asked for. He said, "Do you have one of these in black?" Like he could just like it's like a new car, you know, like not that it was just a trade in, you know. You know, Daniel was being an asshole about it,
as always.
You know, yeah, and he actually said, you know, he turned to the customer service rep, who we still don't know her name. He tells her to get Robbie to take Johnny out for a test ride. Now that whole thing would have blew up, if Robbie was there. Luckily, he wasn't there. You know why I did miss a part? When they were at the table, when they were having their breakfast, Johnny told Daniel and Amanda that his car would never have needed to be fixed anyway if it wasn't for Samantha and her friends. So that's the first time that they have heard anything about the hit and run.
Right.
So Daniel, as soon as he said that, Daniel didn't believe him. You know, he said that, you know, the car smelled like liquor. So he thought Johnny was just lying. And Johnny tells him, you know, ask your daughter. And Amanda was just sitting there. She did not run to just the defensive. You know, she wanted to know what they were talking, what was going on, you know. And so the next scene after the parking lot, we have Samantha walking into the kitchen. And I think that she was getting ready to talk to Daniel and let him know who she was dating. And because she came in and asking for him, and Amanda said, well, he's out for the afternoon. And then she goes into asking her if she was involved in a hit and run accident. And then Samantha,
right.
So she go ahead and says, yes, I was, but I wasn't driving. It was Yasmin driving. And I was kind of shocked that Amanda was upset at Samantha about that, because that it wasn't her car and she wasn't driving. You know, that's not my responsibility to tell, you know, like I don't think my parents would have been upset with me if I was hanging out with you or Ski or whoever and y'all got into an accident. You know, that's your car. That's your problem. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, but, my parents wouldn't have been either. Yeah,
so then Amanda decides to put Samantha on punishment because of that. I mean, that was kind of harsh. Like, she told her she couldn't go anywhere. She had to turn over. And that man, Anthony, you know, he was just egging on the situation. You know, he made sure that she gave up her. Got the phone, and Anthony said, like, don't forget about the laptop and her smart
iPad.
Yeah, that's something my brother would have did. That's something Travis most definitely would have did to me most definitely. I don't care, even if he try and chime in with something right now, I'm not going to even respond to it because I know that that's something that he would have did.
Let me ask you this: who got in more trouble, you or Travis, growing up?
We did not get into a lot of trouble. Mainly, anytime I got in trouble, it was over grades. I never got in trouble over any other stupid thing. Hey, Travis, if Travis got in trouble, it would be because Travis just didn't give a fuck. If he got in trouble about something, it was just like whatever. So it'll be a situation like where they, my parents would tell Trav like to take the garbage out or wash the dishes. If he just didn't feel like it, he just didn't do it. So it'll be
your daddy.
Yeah, well, my dad, 9 times out of 10, my dad was not the one that was, relaying those chores to us like that. My dad, if it came to something like, go outside and rake the leaves or shovel snow, he would say that. But any other household thing like that, my mom would say. So Trav would just kind of take his time before he got to it.
I've only had like 2 brief conversations with your father. Talk to him in passing and things like that. But he looks like the type that like he don't play no mess, man.
Nah, man. He gave me my last whooping, man. He gave me my last. He gave me my last. He didn't whoop me too often, But I was pissed. It was over a report card too, man. I was like in 8th grade, so I felt like I was older at that point in time.
In 8th grade, you felt like you didn't deserve a whooping for your grades?
I was just mad that I had to get a whooping. I didn't say I did not deserve it,
Bro,
but I'm talking about I was mad. I was like,
I was getting my ass beat in 10th grade.
No. I mean, I didn't get. That was it. That was the last one. When he told me to take my pants off and hold on to the back of the chair, I'm like, oh god.
Oh, that kind of ass whooping.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm too old for this shit. I said that in my head. I didn't say that. I didn't say that for real. I said that in my head. I remember that. So right. But other than that, my dad. I think that was like the only time that he ever gave me a spanking. Like I didn't get no time, but I mean, like I said, it was bad grades, so it is what it is, Right. So yeah. But as far as between me and him, we didn't really do nothing stupid, man. Good. No, we had too many people in our lives. We had our parents at home. If we got in trouble with my parents, then we had to talk to my uncle, and we had to sit there and get lectured by him. And then we were going to get lectured by my grandparents. So there were always more. So if we got in trouble, we're going to hear it from multiple people. We didn't want to go through all that shit. We want to keep on, getting lectured over the same shit that somebody else already told you. You didn't want to keep having that happen, right. So, all right, next scene. So now that Johnny has picked out the Challenger and he's driving it, and he's driving kind of fast. Did you pick up that Daniel tells him to slow down a little bit, and he says, take it easy, Danielle?
Yeah.
Yeah, just like they did in the first movie. They were calling somebody called them Danielle at the tournament. So then as they're driving around, they see Daniel's old apartment building, and Daniel tells them to pull over. They want to go take a look at it. Now, in the first Karate Kid movie, it was apartments, but in the third movie, you saw it being sold to a developer, and they were going to turn it into condos. So you saw that reconstruction going on, even though the apartments still look the same in Cobra Kai. So they go through and they're walking and they're talking to each other. And Daniel tells him, that his mom brought them out there, because she wanted him to have a better life. They look at the swimming pool, and Johnny, they see water in it. And Daniel says that there was never water in the pool when he lived there. And Johnny says, I had a pool, I think he said like 2 times the size of this one or something like that. And Daniel makes a comment, it must have been nice having a rich daddy to give you everything. And I'm thinking like, dude, that's exactly what you do to your kids now.
Right.
And Johnny says, I didn't have a rich daddy. I had a rich stepdad. And, he lets them know that things weren't always peachy at home. He went home and he got bullied every day. That's what he said. And Daniel said, oh, I didn't know that, So, they had a little bonding moment right there. And then Johnny says, well, you know what? I need a drink. There's a bar around the corner. And Daniel didn't want to go. He's like, felt like it's the middle of the day. And, Johnny went anyway. You got anything?
I don't know if I'd have went with him. I don't know if I'd invited Daniel.
What? Wait a minute. I mean, you're doing a test drive. I mean, you just can't just walk away with the car keys. You would have just left Daniel at the apartment building?
Gene, he burnt my car.
I keep forgetting about that. I keep forgetting. Well, you know what? He found out. Daniel told him that I had nothing to do with it, and he stressed it more than on one or one occasion. He stressed that he didn't have anything to do with that.
I would still blame him.
Yeah, I mean that was your cousin. That's your cousin. So yeah, I mean I would have blamed him. So you and
I had beef. Avery burns my car down. You and I are not going to have a drink.
Yeah, that'll be messed up. Yeah, we most definitely wouldn't have. I could see you. You would have been. Your eyes would have been bulging out of your head. You would have turned red. We probably would. You wouldn't even came. That would have been a fight in the backyard. That would have never. You would have never came inside and ate or anything.
You know what? I wouldn't even went to your house.
You wouldn't.
No, man. I'd have got you at the dealership the next day.
Now that's funny. Daniel wouldn't have seen that coming at all.
He'd have got
you beat up in front of his employees, huh?
He would have pulled into his spot, and I'd have pulled up right behind him and gave him these hands.
Oh, that would have been funny. Mm-hmm. All right, so now the next thing we have the Cobra Kai kids. They are stacking up on snacks. They're at the I was getting ready to say party store, because that's what we say here in Michigan, in Detroit. Right. We say party stores. Everybody else, you might say a liquor store, but we say party store. So people out of town always ask me when I say party store. They're like, "What's that? What's you talking about? Like, what's that place? What's that place?
Party City.
Yeah, Party City."
That's what they thought I was talking about down here. I was like, "Hey, where's the party store?" They're like, "Oh, over there in the plaza, in the corner." And I'm looking for the. And I'm like, "Wait, there's a Party City thing," and they're like, "No, what's a party store?" And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And my boss, who is from Michigan, from Oakland County, who came down here and brought me down here, he's like, "Yeah, man, they don't call it a party store. He said a convenience store or a liquor store."
Yeah.
Said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, I learned that too by working with a lot of coworkers who live out of state, and I think I said that I might have been in California at one of our work trips or something like that, and said that, and they were like, same thing, like, what's a party store? They think I'm talking about Party City. I'm like, no, the liquor store,
Right.
So they're getting things for their party. That's why we call it a party store. They're getting stuff for their party. So Miguel steps outside to call Samantha, and he's calling her, but he can't talk to her because she does not have her phone. Her mom has it. And it's like she's sitting there at the table doing homework, and then Anthony's in front of her smiling, and he's playing on his iPad. Yeah, that's Trav all day. That's Trav all day, man. Samantha is begging her mom to let her just see the phone, and her mom takes the phone out, shows it to her, and then just hits cancel. Tells her to get back to work. So Miguel is freaking out because he doesn't know what's going on. But he leaves a message and tells her that they're going to have a party. Maybe it's called the Canyons. I don't know. I think I want to say it's called the Canyons now instead of the cave. Well, anyway, he lets her know that they're going to be there and they're going to have Cobra Kai is throwing a party there, and he wants her to come. So he's kind of had a change of heart. He knew that, okay, maybe I'm just tripping right now because Eli talked to him and Dimitri and Aisha. Now they're trying to get alcohol. Hawk has gotten a fake ID, and he goes up to the counter and he's trying to buy some beer. And the guy tells him, like, I have to check your ID. He even points to Bart, says, that's my kid back there. He says he doesn't care. I need to see some ID. So, I was kind of slick that he was trying to pretend like he was kind of acting like he was younger or kind of older, but he still had an ID anyway. So he's kind of playing mind tricks with this guy. I don't even think they ever gave him a name. He pulls out an ID and shows it to him anyway. And the guy just says, whatever. He looks at it and says, whatever, and gives it back to Hawk. And then Hawk smiles and looks at his friends and then asks for some more liquor. He asked for some vodka that was behind the counter. So they're about to get fucked up pretty much because I think he asked for like 8 bottles or something like that. Now back at the house, the doorbell rings, and Anthony gets up to see who it is because he thinks he just ordered a drone. So he thought that, it had arrived already. But it's Robbie. He was there to work out with Daniel, but Daniel wasn't there. Amanda tells him that he can come in and, wait. So he goes into the back to work out. And as he's coming in, he's passing Samantha. She's on her phone. So she obviously must have saw a text message or listened to the voicemail that Miguel gave her. And she was trying to text him something, but her mom came in and stopped her and took the phone back. As she's passing Robbie, Robbie speaks to her, and then, she kind of tells him that she's a prisoner in the house, so she needs to escape. Now, back at the bar, Daniel and Johnny are there having some drinks, and they're just talking to each other about their lives pretty much. And they once again, they bond over something else. Both of them had karate mentors that were like father figures. So that's what Kreese was to Johnny, and that's what Mr. Miyagi was to Daniel. And they, they bond over that. But then Johnny says, well, at least yours didn't try and kill you, or break your trophy, and Daniel agrees to that. You got anything?
I mean, it makes you think, how many instructors out there are mentors to, like young children. So, that's why the one thing, we do the tournament thing, but it's, the martial arts, like I got a lot of respect for you because like me, I love the sport aspect of it. I like I told you earlier, it's hard for me to get into teaching the basics and things like that. That's why I respect like you and Jeff and everyone that has, and Chris that has, schools. You guys are mentors to a lot of people in the community, a lot of kids. Yeah. So, we're very blessed. Obviously I'm blessed for the instructors I've had in my life, your uncle included. But, that's what the martial arts is really about. We get hung up in the karate tournament thing, but that's really what it's all about. So if that's one lesson taken from this stupid show, if the karate still has a place in this world.
Yeah, you know what, man, especially too with so many times I have a lot of grandparents who are putting their kids in karate, and I have a lot of single mothers who are bringing their kids to karate. And the kids are looking for, I can feel it, like they're looking for that role model to look up to, because these kids come to me and talk to me about just random things, just whatever, and you have to go back and forth with them and ask them about it, because you just never know what's in a kid's mind, man. Because eventually there's going to come a time, if they stick with you long enough, they're going to have problems and they're going to have issues, and they might not necessarily want to go talk to mom and dad about it. And I have seen that just hanging around my uncle for all those years and just listening to some of the kids, people who weren't even in the school anymore,
right? But
they just needed to come back and vent to him, just to talk and get a different point of view about something.
100%. I've had real life shit happen to me. And before I called my family or called anyone, I've called your uncle. Just because that has always been the unbiased, if you will, coming from, my childhood wasn't bad, but it wasn't always peachy with my parents, the relationship. So having your uncle even older in life, that unbiased opinion, if you will, because he's either going to be like, Mike, that's not how it is, and you fucked up, or have your back on some stuff, and really give you some real guidance. It's still to this day, I'm thinking about a career change or this and that. I call your uncle, hey, what's your opinion on this? And he, I'm not even in cry, but like you said, you come back. You know what I'm saying? It's that relationship you build, and like your uncle, to quote one of his many quotes. It's not about the kicking and punching. It's about the relationships that you forged with martial arts. And, there's we're getting a little sidetracked, but there was it really changed me when I had my school. I had a student, you know, one kid always came in, always so excited. I'm like, man, he's hype every time he comes in here. You know, he's just so excited. I said, I wish all the other kids could have that energy. And his mom looked at me and said, all the other kids have fathers.
Oh.
I was like, whoa. And she was like, you're the only male influence in his life 3 days a week for an hour. She was like,
wow.
she goes, I don't have a brother. I don't have a father. She goes, you are the only male, you know, figure in his life. And when she said all the other kids have fathers, I was like, whoa.
Did you feel like that just put a lot of pressure on you?
It didn't put pressure. It was like, I need to really watch what I do in all aspects of life.
Yeah. That's 100 right there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, for sure. All right, let's move on, man. Okay, you know, so there we see them kind of bonding right then and there. You know, things are not as intense as they were with Johnny and Daniel. The next scene is at the canyon, and Cobra Kai is there, and they're partying, they're having a good time, and that's when Yasmin pulls up with Kyler, Moon, and this other kid who I never even got his name. I've watched this show so many times, and I never got a name from him. I looked, I could never find his name. Nobody ever said it. Kyler said it in episode 1, but he said it so fast. Every time I rewound it back, I couldn't make out what he said.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, when he tells them to go get he says such and such, get the light beer this time. You know, he said he had to wait for wrestling. But I never got the name. Every time I rewind it back, I just can't make out what he said. So when Yasmin sees Cobra Kai there, she's pissed. She's upset. And she tells Kyler, make them leave. And he gets ready to go down there and do just that until he sees Miguel standing there. And then he kind of bitches up and he's like, I think we should just go. Let's just go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You know, Yasmin didn't want to go anywhere. Now her friend Moon did. Moon just saw a bunch of kids having a good time and she wanted to join in. So she said she's going down there to get a beer. And so Yasmin is just standing there by herself at this point in time. Aisha walks up to Miguel and asks him if he's heard from Samantha yet. He hadn't. And he just says, screw it. Let's get the party started without her. Mm-hmm. And he starts to have his first beer. And looks like he's just not going to fucking worry about it.
Don't chase, replace.
And Aisha kind of smiles and laughs when she sees him drinking because that's the first time she's ever, seen him like kind of cut loose a little bit, The next scene we have Samantha. She's looks like she's reading a book and she's just bored out of her mind. Robbie comes into the room and he's acting like he just sprained his ankle. And, he tells Amanda that he's about to go. He just hurt his ankle. And, she asked if he's okay, if he needs a ride. And he said he was just going to ride his skateboard. But then she tells, repeat that with, I think that's Jeff right there.
Jeff said this show is making wrestlers look like punks. Jeff has a wrestling background. I have a wrestling background. Jeff, you're in agreement with me. I know you are. Wrestlers are the most in shape athletes that I know of in competitive sports. So
I can believe that.
They're not punks at all.
I could believe that. Yeah. So anyway, Robbie decides to. Amanda tells Samantha to take Robbie home, give him a ride, and come right back. And she says, sure. So she grabs her things. They walk outside. And then Robbie shows her that he's not really hurt. He can actually walk. Mm-hmm. She says, well, where are we going? She says, we're going to go to a party. How about we go to a party? My boyfriend is probably, going crazy, wondering what's going on. And then Robbie, we could see his face kind of sink when she says that. Mm-hmm. And then they leave. Back with Daniel and Johnny, they're reminiscing. They're talking about different things that happened to them in high school that wasn't part of Cobra Kai. Also, no, my bad. He was talking about the spaghetti. Later on, they're talking about other things that weren't part of the first Karate Kid movie. So they're talking about the spaghetti incident that happened in the first one. And then Johnny asks Daniel if he's, heard from Allie. And he says that, he hadn't, but, he's kept up with her on Facebook. Johnny didn't know what Facebook was or anything about Facebook. And then, so Daniel pulls her up and they look at her pictures, but they don't see her picture. They see her husband's picture. Once again, they kind of bond over Allie. Anything?
No. I like Robbie's play though. I like the play. Act like he's hurt. Get her out the house. Get that time with her. He's slick.
Yeah, for sure. Well, he doesn't know anything about Miguel at that point,
Right.
So
he's slick.
Yeah,
I like him.
We're going over a lot of information for this episode because the next episode is not
quick.
It's quick. It's not going to be a lot to talk about. I mean, it's the tournament. It's not going to be. I'm not going to break down each fight scene. So we're going to move on. Back at the canyon, the kids are partying. They're having a good time. They are. Aisha walks over and she checks on Miguel, he's extremely drunk at this point. And she asks him how he's doing, and he says that he's all right. He walks past Dimitri. Dimitri has a funny little comment for him. He just kind of looks at him. He gave him, "Why don't you just shut up?" kind of look.
Dimitri's your boy, man.
Nah, not at all. Well, Dimitri sees Hawk, and Hawk is now making out with Moon. And Dimitri goes over and asks him, like, "I don't get it. You just cut your hair and change your clothes. Like, what's going on?" And he just tells them that it's like it's a way of life now. Just just gotta live in the moment, feel the energy. And Moon now is talking to Aisha when Yasmin walks over. Well, you know what? Before we get to that part, Dimitri tries to take the words that Hawk just told him and apply it to Yasmin. Yeah. That's just ridiculous. Now that's the one person in the movie, the one female that you don't want to try and talk to. Like,
part of me thought he was going to succeed, though.
I didn't. She's just the mean girl. She's just evil. She's just evil. So she just kind of disses him and walks away from him as he's trying to talk to her. And she goes over and she confronts Aisha. And Moon tells her, like, "Look, I apologize for what we did to her. You should apologize too." Yasmin does not want to apologize. She kind of insults Aisha. And then Aisha finally gets some revenge. She gives her a wedgie, a reverse wedgie, and lifts her up and throws her down. And of course, everybody records it and laughs at what just happened to Yasmin. And then she kind of slinks off. Now, I wonder where she went because she rode in with Kyler. Mm-hmm. It seems like they're kind of in the woods. So I don't know if she just kind of walked home by herself or she grabbed somebody else that was there and said, "Can you give me a ride home?" Or
she made a call. She has guys on standby.
You're probably right about that.
That type of girl, she might have got somebody at the party.
Yeah, like she could have actually had Dimitri. If Dimitri had a car, Dimitri probably would have took her home,
That type of girl has dudes on standby.
Yeah. So then we see Miguel looks up and he sees Samantha. She's arrived. And she arrived with Robbie. And now they're coming down the hill and they're holding hands. Now, of course, they're holding hands only because, she could fall, if she takes the wrong step. I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt of why they were holding hands. I know if I see my girl coming down the hill with some dude holding hands, I'm going to have an issue with that, So I kind of felt Miguel at that point. He approaches them and he asks them, who Robbie was. She tries to tell him who Robbie was. And then, but Miguel really wasn't having it because I guess he kind of remembered Robbie from when he saw him at the house. Now, I think Miguel was wrong in this point because he doesn't know. Robbie could have been a cousin. He wouldn't have never known. He wouldn't have. He would. I see you're quiet right now, but he could have been a cousin. He could have been anybody.
Hold on, man. Listen.
Okay.
My woman's not answering my calls. She's not letting me come to the house, meet her family, 9 answer my calls for days, and then you show up at the spot with some dude holding his hand coming down.
Okay, you're right. All right. All right.
I'm not even asking. Like the immature 16-year-old me, that dude's getting fucked up.
And that's kind of what happened because then, Samantha tries to tell Miguel what happened. He does not give her a chance to explain herself. And Robbie tries to interject also and try and, smooth things out. And, he pushes him away, tells him to get away. Then he gets back up and he tries to come at him. And then Miguel swings. He kind of hits Samantha when he swings. She falls down and he kind of helps her up. And then the first thing she says was, "My dad was right about Cobra Kai." And then she kind of walks off with Robbie. So that was the end of that. So like I said, that's pretty much what you agreed with what happened.
Without a doubt. Now, if I'm Robbie, I'm in the car and be like, I can't believe he treated you like that.
Right. You planting your seeds. You planting your seeds. Yeah,
without a doubt.
So this is the last scene now. So Daniel and Johnny, they pull back up to Daniel's house. They're both drunk. They're walking. They're stumbling. Now they agreed to spar each other, which is cool. Like if you go agree to spar, you're squashing any type of beef. Man, so they wanted to do it.
Rocky 3.
That's exactly what Johnny said. Like he wanted to be like Rocky 3. And they walk into Daniel's dojo, and he sees Robbie there. And Daniel says, "I forgot to tell you, I have my own student." And Johnny pushes him and says, "What the hell is going on?" And then Robbie jumps in between them, and then he calls him dad. So now Daniel knows that Robbie is Daniel's son, but why? I don't understand why Daniel got mad at. In the next episode, we see him kind of still mad at Johnny. Like they squashed their problems. There should not be a problem between them anymore. Right. Johnny did not send Robbie. Now Daniel should have known that Robbie was not sent here by me. You know. So he tells once again, Daniel being a hothead, he tells Robbie to get out of here. Don't come back to the house. Don't come back to the dealership, and you're pretty much done. And Johnny, yeah, that was. And then we see Johnny. He peels off in his car, and he's gone. And one of Daniel's trophies fell down and broke, and he was sad about that.
He only won 2 trophies?
Yep.
So, he was sad.
Right. Anything about that episode, man?
No, it was a good episode.
Okay. Now, episode 10, we're going to go by pretty quick. Like I said, we're not going to break down these fight scenes. And there's not really a lot to really talk about. So we start off, we see a montage of the tournament, the All Valley. We see them laying the mats down. They're getting the promotional T-shirts out. They're doing the cotton candy. They're registering people, and they're just kind of getting people excited about the tournament. Mm-hmm. This episode is called Mercy. I actually think this should have been the name of episode
9.
No, I think it should have been episode 10 of season 2. It should have been called Mercy.
Oh, yeah. That's fitting.
Yeah. So we see the trophies. We see the board that has all of the tournament information as far as the competitors, the brackets, and things like that. And just this whole tournament should have been updated for now. This was still the same tournament that was around in 1984. Like they're still going to 3 points. They're not wearing gear.
Maybe they're in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
I think this is the worst part of this season. Is this tournament? The tournament. Because it's unrealistic. I mean, there's nothing realistic about this tournament at all. They're not wearing gear. I knew they used to not wear gear back in the day. Mm-hmm. And that's how it is. So I understood why they didn't have gear in '84 in the first Karate Kid movie. I got that,
right?
You know, but now in well, this is supposed to be 2000, I think 17. They should have gear on, and they should not have just been going to 3 points. I'm not saying they should have did the whole 2-minute thing. They could have did 5. I don't know. They could have did 7. I don't know. But they needed to update it a little bit better.
I bet you the prize money was the same.
You know what? I bet it was no prize money because it's juniors. This is under 18.
So you saying they went from an Atari to a PS4?
No, I think they got a trophy and a bicycle. That's what they got, a trophy and a bicycle.
You know, I never won a bicycle.
So after the montage, we got Cobra Kai standing outside of the tournament, and Miguel is pissed. So he's sparring, doing combinations off to himself. And Johnny's late, so they're looking for Johnny. And Bert lets them know that he saw him, and he was drunk. He saw him the night before, so he thought that he might not was going to show up. And so now the kids, they get a little bit worried because they think that he could have hurt himself. Now Bert says that he was at the liquor store to get a glass of milk. Now, did you see what Bert was really doing at the liquor store?
Mm-hmm. What was he doing?
He was buying an adult magazine.
Oh, that's right.
And it was called Big and Bootylicious. And that's what he was doing. So he walks out of the liquor store, and that's where he saw Johnny. And Johnny was peeing on the LaRusso nameplate on the back of the car. And Bert asked him if he was all right, and Johnny says, "Well, we're all gonna die, kid. We're all gonna die." So now, Hawk and Aisha are freaking out. They're like, "Well, what if he killed himself?" And I think Aisha said, like, he would never do nothing like that. That'd be too pussy of a move. Yeah, I do too. They're thinking, okay, we got to do this on our own, And then Johnny does show up, and he decides he's going to talk to them now. You got anything?
No.
Check the comments. See if we got any comments.
Let me look. I know just Jeff has commented.
Okay.
Agree, Mike is a great sidekick. Shows no, yeah, we're good. Oh, Jeff said he didn't win a bike either.
I'm surprised Jeff didn't win a bike.
Because Jeff's the kid that was good at kata. So Jeff was smart. He was probably winning adult grand championships at like 11.
All right. So Johnny he's giving him a motivational speak. He was getting me hyped. I was sitting on the couch getting hyped, listening to him give his speech about no mercy. So he was telling the kids to go out on the floor, and actually, have confidence in themselves and their skills that they had, and pretty much kick all these other kids' ass. That's what he wanted. That's the message that he was trying to get through to these kids. Now, another thing that I have a problem with this tournament is there's no type of weight division between these kids. Like Bert is in the same division as Miguel and Hawk. Like, that's crazy. He should not have been in the same division. And Aisha, there's no other girls, so she's fighting with the boys.
Hold on, man. We got a comment here.
Okay.
Daw said, "I won a motorcycle."
Well, he got everybody beat.
Wow.
Right. What tournament was that?
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, fuck a bicycle.
Right. Aisha's the only girl, and she's a big girl. But, but she did well. She did well.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying, man. So that's one of the problems. Like, it was these kids. Miguel, I understand Miguel. Okay, Miguel, number one, in my opinion, and if this is realistic, he would never have gotten to the finals. He technically would have been a purple belt, and you're not beating black belts. That's just not happening. So you got Miguel, you get Hawk in the finals. Hawk has only been training at this point for maybe 2 months, and he gets to the finals. So what does that say about all these other martial arts schools in the Valley? They suck.
They all suck.
They all suck. And then Aisha, like, there is no other girl in this whole Valley that does martial arts. Zero.
It's her.
Just her.
Well, this episode or this season.
Well, yeah. I mean, but still, like, even like, oh my goodness. There should have been more. There should have been a girls and boys division, whatever. And then once again, this is an under 18 tournament. This place was packed. This All Valley arena was packed. They had sponsors. They had their little board committee people standing around watching. This kind of brought me out of it a little bit. It's just too fiction. It was too much fiction right here.
Mm-hmm.
And then Daniel, when he walks in, everybody stops and claps when he walks in, because he was a 2-time champ. And everybody remembers him. But for some reason, nobody remembers Johnny, and Johnny also was a 2-time champ. Right. Johnny said that Johnny won, and so Daniel won in 84 and 85. So Johnny had to have won in 83 and 82. But nobody remembers him. His picture's not up. They got Daniel's picture up doing the crane. There's nothing for Johnny. There was even a picture of John Kreese, because we see it. I think Johnny saw it as he was walking around, and he stopped and saw John Kreese's picture. Now Miguel's mom and her mother, they came to the event, and
this is my favorite part.
Yeah. So Miguel's mom, she's nervous, and her mom wasn't. She says that everything was going to be okay. Whatever happens, Miguel will learn from it. And she wasn't nervous because she smoked a joint before. That caught me by surprise also. When Daniel walks in and he gets his spot, Daniel, they have they set aside front row seats for Daniel and his family for them to sit down. So everybody in the Valley bows down to him and his family because they own car lots, car dealerships. I've never seen that in real life. Like
my family owned car dealerships. No one bowed down to us.
That's probably because y'all did not kick the competition like the Russos. So now they're doing the introductions for all of the schools, and Cobra Kai comes in. They come marching in saying, Cobra Kai, that was sweet. And Johnny has given them all black uniforms, just like how him and his friends all had the black uniforms from the first movie. So they're not wearing the white gis. Anything so far, Mike?
No, them gis are sweet though.
Yeah, they were. And then in comes Robbie. Now, at no point in time, like, how did Robbie even know that this was even going on?
It's in the Valley, man. Everybody in the Valley was there.
That's some bullshit. He should not have known. Robbie, at no point in time, has ever had a uniform on, but somehow he comes running in a uniform. Robbie comes running in a uniform and has a black belt on. So Robbie is the last person to start karate. And somehow he promoted himself to black belt.
Are you reading these comments?
No, I'm not reading these comments. I'm not. I can't do it. Go ahead, read them to me.
It says most people would be laughing at real tournaments.
I don't know, man. I've actually taken people who were not karate people to tournaments, and they have actually gotten into the tournament and really have gotten in and enjoyed the tournament. Once I explained exactly what it is that the goal was, what the people are trying to hit. So I've seen it more than one occasion.
Someone had once told me that somebody had told them it was like being at a rap battle with kicking and punching. Everyone's standing around. Oh!
Shit. Damn. Don't. Oh, my God. That it is kind of like that, though. So the tournament begins. And first thing, when Miguel gets into the ring, he decides he's going to do the crane kick. And he does it. And he kicks some poor kid in the face. And Daniel gets mad. So Samantha says, I can't believe he stole your move. Fuck it, I'm not gonna even comment on it. That was just stupid. So now we're going through. We're looking at different fights. We see Burt fighting, and he gets smashed real quick. Hawk hits a kid with an elbow in the face and wins his fight. Like I said, man, we're seeing capoeira stuff in on the mat in these fights. These guys are winning. People are jumping over each other. Like, some of this stuff does not look like, you know what? I guess people would be bored if they saw a real turn on the movie, on the TV show. Like, if they made it a little bit more realistic, but they could have done it a little bit better than what they did, Right. So anyway, Robbie is fighting, and he's competing, he's winning, but he has nobody there supporting him. It had to be kind of rough because Daniel is there, sitting there just watching, not really clapping, not really saying anything at this point. And then his own dad is there, and his dad is not cheering for him either. So that's kind of that's a sad situation. Aisha's competing, and she's winning a couple of her fights, but she eventually loses, and she loses to the person who was the champion the previous year. So now we get to a point where we don't even see the other Cobra Kai kids competing. They just kind of focused on Miguel, Hawk, and Aisha, right. And that's pretty much it. Oh, we did see Burt and his little situation. And Aisha ends up losing her fight, and then she gets upset. She kind of walks off. Samantha goes and talks to her, and they kind of squash their beef that they had. Right. She apologized. Samantha apologizes to Aisha. And Aisha, accepts. She asked her if she, if she wants to come out and start competing again, and she doesn't really want to. Aisha even tells her, "I can even get you a gi," because I think Samantha even liked the Cobra Kai uniforms, right. And that wasn't going to happen if Samantha walked in the house with a Cobra Kai gi. Daniel would have hit the roof. So now the finals are set. The finals, we have Hawk, we have Miguel, we have Robbie, and we have the other kid who was the former champion, or the reigning champion. The way it gets set up is Miguel and the old champion fight each other, and then Robbie and Hawk fight each other. You got anything to say so far?
I really liked Hawk, man. The little dude, he was getting it in. He was winning by any means necessary. And then I felt bad for baby girl in the dressing room when she was crying. Not crying, but she was upset. But I was proud of her, man. I was proud of her. I got a soft spot for her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So did she remind you of a former student of yours?
No. That's my chat son.
Man, I swear, Jeff knows everything. Jeff knows everything. Jeffopedia, for real.
I love that,
Yes, he comes out, man. We gonna have this, man.
Well, he knew who was the choreographer, Hirokoda. He knew that.
Yeah, he's gonna know everything, man. Like, man,
Jeff, man,
he's on point. But what's the guy's name? I never wrote anything down.
The former champ.
Yeah.
I was just calling Mike Chat's son.
Okay, we call Mike Chat's son. Okay, so him and Miguel fight, and Miguel ends up beating him. And then Hawk and Robbie fight, and Hawk scores. Did Hawk score the first point, or did Robbie score the first point? I think. I don't know.
Hawk did.
Hawk.
I think.
And then Robbie scored against him.
And Hawk, and then Robbie, and then.
No. They didn't go back and forth. They both had one.
Hawk, Robbie.
Then that's it, because then Hawk got mad because Robbie
got mad.
Because Robbie said, I think he said something like you're getting ready to lose, you're getting ready to leave or something like that, and Robbie says, "Why are you about to leave and go home and fix that stupid haircut?" So he got mad about the insult about his hair, and then as Robbie was walking back, and Hawk went and kicked him in his shoulder. and took him down, and he was out. And so he got disqualified for that act. They had to take Robbie back to the back to get his shoulder looked at. Mm-hmm. That's the situation. Okay, your kid is injured. I think Johnny should have went back there too. Regardless of the tournament, your kid is hurt. He's in the locker room with the medics. What do you think? You don't think he should have went back there?
Your uncle never did that shit with us.
I never got injured like that, but
I'm right there with the medic. And maybe your uncle just don't like me. I don't know. But he'd be like, you pussy, get up. I don't know. But maybe that's the mentality. But
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like if something like that, like if somebody kicked you in your back of your shoulder, and you couldn't lift it, and you had to go back to the back with medics, I think somebody would have went back there with you.
Anthony killed me in that tournament.
Okay.
And I was going out on a gurney, and then nobody would go out with me. None of you did. That's how I know you fuckers didn't really like me.
I had no beef with you, man. I had no beef with you.
Man, y'all treat me like I'm Trump out here.
Man, no, man. But I think that you instigated that situation that resulted in your injury. So I guess we were all like, well,
can I tell you why I did that? It wasn't to be disrespectful at all. Because I growing up, Mr. Price was one of my heroes in life, man. I love that guy. Mm-hmm. But your uncle had a tournament, mm-hmm. and it came down to Mr. Allison and Anthony in the Grand Championship. And Mr. Allison talked shit to him, and it got him off his game, and Mr. Allison almost beat him. Like was, messing with him and stuff. So I said, fuck it. I'm going to try that shit.
But you're not Mr. Allison. You're not John Allison.
I know that now. But I almost died. But yeah.
Yeah. So when that happened, Johnny jumped up and went in to go check on Robbie also before he got taken into the back. And then the referee kind of pushed him away, told him to go to his side. And then he asked Hawk, like, what the hell are you doing? And he said, what, am I supposed to be a pussy? So he got disqualified for that. Was that a disqualifiable, I think I'm saying that right, offense?
Disqualifiable offense. Depends on the rules, man.
Yeah.
I've seen where there's ground fighting where an opponent, so this happened not too long ago, and I was judging, I made the call. Somebody fell on the ground, there was 3 seconds of ground fighting. So the opponent fell and he can get scored upon. He kicked up. The opponent that fell kicked up and hit the guy, and blood was coming out of the nose. So we had to disqualify him.
I hate that. I hate that blood rule. I mean, I think that should happen depending on the situation. Like if we're fighting each other, and I throw a spinning hook kick and I hit you with a spinning hook kick, and then you bleed, but you knew that I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt you. If that, but if it's a situation where I like what Robbie did with, what Hawk did with Robbie, where he intentionally tried to hurt him, I think that should be, grounds for disqualification. But just
blood should not be disqualification.
It depends on how
adults, I feel.
If somebody does a reverse punch to the face, do you think that should be disqualified?
If Richard Plowman's doing it.
I don't think anybody should throw a reverse punch to the face. I think if you throw a reverse punch to somebody's face and they bleed, then if you're doing that on purpose, then that is definitely, you should be disqualified for that. I don't think that, no, that's not cool, man. You can't do that. You're liable to knock somebody out with a reverse punch to the face. You can't just do that.
No comment.
Okay. All right, let's wrap this up. Okay, so in the back, Daniel and Robbie are talking. And Daniel at this point in time has started to come around and wants to help Robbie out. Robbie apologizes. Yeah. So you think if he would have lost, he wouldn't have had nothing to say to him?
Nothing.
Robbie apologizes for trying to deceive Daniel, and Daniel tells him he understands. And he wants to talk to Robbie about Johnny, and he's saying that Johnny's really not a bad guy. He just wasn't taught the right things. And you think about the people that was in Johnny's life as he was growing up, becoming a man. He had Sid, who wasn't a good guy, and he had John Kreese, who wasn't a good guy. So, of course, he's going to grow up and become someone that has some issues, So he gets his shoulder put back in place. And Daniel kind of teases everyone and rubs his hands like he's going to do what Mr. Miyagi did. I hated that part, but it still was kind of funny. But, and he calls for the medic, and the medic comes in and resets Robbie's shoulder. And Robbie has decided he's still going to go out and try and compete. Back on the floor, Aisha comes back into the tournament with Samantha. Miguel gets up and he goes over to speak, and he's trying to talk with her, but Samantha is being a little. She's taking things to the next level. Like it doesn't have to be that bad. Like, they could have talked and they could have squashed their problem that they had with each other. But she's going to drag that out. Miguel says, like, what was I supposed to do? Just wait for the enemy. He's using the wrong words at this point in time. Right. It's really just pushing. It's just really just pushing Samantha further and further away from him. So he tells him, well, just wait, just watch what I do to Robbie in the finals. And he walks away from her. And at that point in time, she wants to leave. She doesn't want to stay there anymore. So she tells her mom, I want to go. And they decide to leave. And at that point in time, Anthony was starting to get into the tournament. He was enjoying himself. So he really wasn't ready to go. But they leave. Now when the tournament resumes, Daniel has decided that he's going to coach Robbie in the finals. And Johnny wasn't too happy when Daniel came out.
This is my worst part of the whole episode, every episode. When he's in the middle of the ring announcer, he's like, "What? Daniel LaRusso's gonna coach?" I was like,
"Yeah, because they actually."
Kid. When she came out, he was like, "Daniel LaRusso's gonna fight."
Yeah,
and I'm like, "This is corny."
Yeah, that was really, really corny. And once again, it was making them think like Daniel LaRusso is the Lord of the Valley now. He is Lord of the Valley because everybody loves and worships him, and he's just, I guess, a great guy to everyone who lives around there. Mm-hmm. So Robbie and Miguel decide to fight. Well, they go out to compete, and they're going back and forth a little bit with different combinations. They're going back and forth with each other. Robbie decides to do that kick, that one-handed kick, and he hit Miguel with. Miguel, as they're fighting, he finds out that Robbie's shoulder's hurt. So a couple times he's actually tried to attack his shoulder. Johnny was not cool with that at all. It was even one point in time where Miguel got knocked down, and Robbie walked over to help him up, and he grabbed his hand and pulled his arm down. Looks like almost like a wrist lock off almost. And he kind of jerked his arm down and hurt his shoulder some more. And that looked like a dirty move to Daniel and to Johnny. So they were both upset about that move. You got anything?
No.
Okay. So then Miguel, he eventually wins. He scores the last point and wins. Robbie's pretty beat up at that point in time. And he wins, and he gets a standing ovation. He's happy. His mom is happy. He gets his trophy. He dedicates it to Johnny and Cobra Kai. Johnny steps off the mat to go speak to Robbie and Daniel, and they accept his apology. What Robbie does, he tells us it's okay, and Robbie leaves with Daniel. Miguel gets off the stage and he goes to look for Samantha. He can't find her. Dimitri tells him that she's left. She left a little while ago, so he's a little upset. back. Robbie and Daniel are in the car going home. They're just thinking about the events of what happened. And, Daniel tells Robbie, well, you fought with honor and he didn't. So now Daniel has it in his head that Miguel is the bad guy of this thing. And he says, well, in order for us, if we're going to get better, we're going to need more students. So he takes Robbie somewhere. And if we eventually find out it is Mr. Miyagi's old house, because we see the cars, he turns on the lights, and it's the backyard. So Daniel has decided that he's going to open up Miyagi-Do Karate, and that is going to be the location of it. Johnny is actually back in his dojo. He's just drinking and just thinking about everything that happened, and he hears the door open. He thinks it's Miguel. He steps out to see Miguel, but it isn't Miguel. It's John Kreese. And John Kreese tells him the story has just begun. And that is it. Season 1, Cobra Kai. How was it?
It was good, man. It was kind of coordinated at times, but it sparked some interest in martial arts again, so I'm all for it.
All right, man. So that's pretty much it. Next week, we're on to Enter the Dragon. That's what we're going to watch. I got to see if I can find it somewhere. I have no idea. I don't know if it's on Amazon or YouTube or what, but, All right. Well, you got any closing remarks, Mike?
No, Enter the Dragon time. We're back on the Bruce Lee kit. Let's go.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. So if Mike doesn't have any other things to say, I don't have anything to say. For everyone here in the Martial Arts Center Network, you guys stay safe, stay strong. We'll see you next week and get ready for the review. Enter the Dragon. Peace.
Disaster must come. At best, only postponed. Shaolin Kung Fu, to survive, must now be taught to more young men.